outside. Don't you want to have something cheesy and garlicky and baked and hot? Let's make a garlic cheese bread. So we have our all-purpose flour, that is Maida, some mozzarella cheese. You can also use cheddar cheese if you want, some olive oil, our seasoning, which you'll find the link in my another video. I'll list down the link below in the description box. Some salt, some corn powder, and some yeast. So let's start. So in a large mixing bowl, I'm gonna put in my flour, little bit of salt. Please remember, we are going to put salt on one side of the flour and the yeast on the other side of the flour. That's because we do not put yeast and salt together, because the salt will immediately kill the yeast and it won't work. So we put in the yeast that we have. See, the yeast that is available in Indian markets is of different brands and it works differently. So now we need to pour in our hot water, a little bit of hot water to bring the dough together. I'm going to use my hands because that's the best way to do it. Remember, the water has to be lukewarm because that is what is going to activate your yeast. So now we need to put in a little bit of olive oil. Adding olive oil increases the moisture content of the bread and so it doesn't dry up in your mouth while eating. So we'll knead the dough properly. Since I'm not using a machine, I'm doing it by hand. So remember, it's a no machine process. It does not give you the quick results, but it will give you the results. You just need to give time to it. So it's a substitute for machine. Now we are going to take our dough onto the surface. So just sprinkle some dry flour on your work surface and we'll start kneading. So I think minimum of 50 turns or 100 turns even if you want, if you feel that your dough is cold. We'll knead it at least 50 times. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil at this step and then we'll knead with the heel of our hand. This is how. If the dough sticks, you can use a scraper. That's very handy for these processes. Right now I'm not kneading, so I forgot the count. 11, 12, 13, 14, 97, 98, 99 and 100. So you see, so now what we're going to do is we'll take a large bowl, we oil it a teeny bit, we oil our dough so that it doesn't form a crust. So this is one method of tucking your dough in properly. Remember, you're working with yeast. Yeast is a live creature. You need to give your love, you need to give your warmth to it to work on your dough. So we are tucking in our yeast, nice, and then we keep our dough here. We cover it up with the cling wrap. So we take a cling wrap, we cover this bowl nice and tight. Basically, we are just tucking in our beloved yeast to work on the dough nicely. We put this warm blanket over it and plate. And now we'll keep it for 3 to 4 hours to work on the dough. It has been 4 hours now, so I think we should take out the dough. Look at this beautiful dough. Are you seeing all these bubbles here? This is what we want. This is how well the yeast has worked. See, look at all these bubbles. This will assure that you get a well risen and soft and a moist bread. So let's get baking. Now, so on a clean surface, we again pour the dry flour and we will start to work on our dough. See. It's so soft and it's so stretchy, and the smell of the yeast is so wonderful. So what are we gonna do now? It's just, we're just puncturing the air out. Spread our surface with the corn flour that I told you before. This corn flour is what gives the nice crumbly flavor to the garlic bread. Put it like this and then work its way out. Please notice that I am rotating my garlic bread's dough continuously because I don't want it to stick from the surface below. So that's why I'm rotating it continuously, just to make sure that it's nice when I want it to come down. Okay, so now it's done. What I'm going to do now is I take the tray in which I want to bake my garlic bread. I flour it also a little bit, and then I'm going to transfer this dough to this sheet. Now comes the best part. What are we going to do is, we're now going to add only to half the portion all of our seasoning that we want to add in. So we'll add loads and loads of garlic butter. That is just, minced garlic and add it to butter. Do remember to leave a boundary because the butter will melt and we don't want it to be oozing out of the bread and lose all that nice flavor. So I'm going to be putting this much as of now. Then I'm going to be adding a little bit of my seasoning. I'm going to add my mozzarella cheese. You can add cheddar cheese also along with it. Turn the second half over this one and tuck the sides really gently. So we are just tucking our dough beautifully. Now what we are going to do is, I am gonna brush some of the butter and garlic mixture again on the top because garlic bread is all about loads of butter and loads of garlic. So what a wonderful flavor it's gonna be. You guys can't even imagine. Does this shape remind you of some restaurant's garlic bread? I'm sure it does. So now with the help of a knife, I'm gonna make just slight pressured cuts on it so that we can have slices later when we want. I'm gonna just put some dry flour on the knife. So now I'm going to allow it to rest for another like half an hour or so, and then we are going to bake it. Guys, hope you enjoyed the recipe. Please make this recipe. It's a wonderful garlic bread. You'll love it, I'm sure. And because I have to share baking with you guys because you guys love it more than I do, right? Okay, happy baking, bakers.